Welcome to Sports from the Couch.
I gotta say, it's the stupidest thing in sports.
With your host, Mike Mercado.
Players cannot stand him. Coaches cannot stand him. Most importantly, the fans can't stand him.
Brought to you by Mercado Airwaves.
I'm gonna say it once, and hopefully I'm wrong, but it's a disaster waiting to happen.
That is so bad, that is absolutely brutal.
Hello and welcome in, friends, to another edition of Sports from the Couch here on Mercado Airwaves. I'm your host, Mike Mercado. Thank you so much for making us a part of your day. It is Monday, January 18th, 2021 in the beautiful city of Chicago. I hope you all had a wonderful weekend. We have a lot to get into. We got to talk about the divisional matchups that were and what we have in store for the AFC and NFC championship games and what it all means for your Chicago Bears. But before we get to all that, let's go ahead and take care of some housekeeping notes. You can follow us all over the universe. I'm on Twitter at Mike and Media, Instagram, Mike Mercado Media, and you can follow the show on Twitter at Couch Sports Talk. Like, rate, review, and shares wherever you get your favorite podcast at Mercado Airwaves. Become a producer of the show at patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves, the home to our interviews with athletes and celebrities that you could get ad-free and before anybody else. That's patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves. Guys, we have swag. Start off 2021 right, looking good at teespring.com/Mercado Airwaves. Like us on Facebook at Mercado Airwaves. Subscribe to us on YouTube, youtube.com/Mercado Airwaves Network. Come play video games with us on Twitch, twitch.tv/Mercado Airwaves Network. And of course, if you would like to keep up to date with everything we're doing on the show, from the pop culture news to the true crime podcast and all our interviews, follow us on Twitter at Mercado Airwaves.
Yards in the game, 2nd and 8. Breeze throws, and he's picked by Devin White. Another turnover, and White picks his way down the sideline. Brady's going to take it. Touchdown.
Well, they've got to get somebody down the middle or up the sideline.
Breeze able to step into this one. This one's up for grabs and picked.
It's been quite a year.
It's 3rd down and 3, and that's going to do it. That'll take this game to the 2-minute warning. Afternoon game in the cold at Lambeau next Sunday.
I'll tell you what, that is going to be one heck of a plane ride back to Tampa Bay for this football team.
And we are all set up for our conference championship matchups as the Tampa Bay Buccaneers will take on the Green Bay Packers in Lambeau Field. And then to top off the night, it will be the Buffalo Bills at the Kansas City Chiefs. This is coming off of the Buccaneers beating the Saints 30-20, what might have been Drew Brees' last game in the NFL as a starting quarterback on his way to Canton, Ohio, and the Kansas City Chiefs survive over the Cleveland Browns 22-17. Patrick Mahomes was taken out of the game due to concussion, up in the air if he will be playing in this coming up matchup against Buffalo. So what we really need to talk about, and this is what's really been on my mind since these games happened, right? Let's start off with the divisional round when it came to these matchups and how the Packers beat up on the Rams and the Bills beat up on the Ravens. Even we saw Lamar Jackson get taken off because of concussion, but there has been one real common thread amongst all of them. The reason that all these teams were in the divisional round is the quarterback. I mean, you look at the Kansas City Chiefs, enough said, it's Patrick Mahomes. Then you look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. While they haven't had Tom Brady, the greatest of all time, probably, right? I think if somebody says that, you're not going to argue with them. And they haven't had him this entire time in this franchise, but 1 year in the system, 1 year with them there, they're in the conference championship game. You have the Cleveland Browns, who Baker may not be the superstar, the all-star, he's going to be on the commercials, but is he a number 1, number 2, number 3 quarterback in the league? Probably not, but you could depend on him. You know who's your starting quarterback. Obviously, with the Saints, the run that was Drew Brees. I mean, the wonder that he is that on that position, and, I don't know if he still has the goods. It's not up to me to tell the man to retire. Wasn't the greatest of performances. Giving up all those interceptions, not able to get the ball down the field. Like, there was a lot wrong with that Saints offense, but you can never take away what he did throughout his entire career. Aaron Rodgers, maybe the most talented man to ever play the position. The LA Rams with Jared Goff, that's their guy. They paid for him. That's a guy who's been to the Super Bowl. Baltimore, obviously, with a former MVP and Lamar Jackson. Josh Allen with their number one pick in Buffalo. And we've seen him have an MVP-esque season. The through line is a good quarterback. Not a competent, not an average, a good quarterback. Takes you places. Makes up for a lot of mistakes. And that's how you get to a divisional round. But how do you get to an NFC or AFC championship game? How do you win a Super Bowl? You have to be special. And that's what we're seeing right now. Look at the teams that are left. Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady. For a conference championship game. Something I don't think anybody ever thought they would be able to see. And we're getting it. And it's going to be glorious. Because these two offenses are so dynamic. And it's fascinating to hear how in some cities, in some offenses, in just some mindsets, you look at the way a city, a home field plays into the game. You never question that with Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady. How many times in Foxborough has it looked like the Antarctic? How many times in Lambeau does it look like the North Pole? It's the same thing that happens in Pittsburgh, Baltimore, any of these cities that are cold cities that have bad winters. They throw the ball. It doesn't matter. You're not hindered by it. Think about that in Chicago. Think about how many times you walked out on a Sunday morning or you're going to bed on a Saturday night and you just feel it in the air or you already see and touch the ground that it's going to be a nasty one in the winter for that Sunday afternoon. And you just knew that it was going to be a horrible offensive game. That's not what's happening with these 4 teams that are left. And it doesn't matter the participants because this season, they're the guys. And obviously, when you're looking at the NFC matchup, 2 guys going to the Hall of Fame already, guaranteed. They can stop playing football right now. They don't even need to get to this championship game. They're in the Hall of Fame. Hell, Aaron Rodgers probably is going to win the MVP this year. And then the AFC, Patrick Mahomes is on his way. Maybe he hasn't stamped it just yet, but damn well near has. We're just waiting for the ink to dry at this point. And then you're looking at Buffalo. This is the maturation of Josh Allen. And when you give him a weapon like Stephon Diggs, this is a quarterback who just this season people were questioning. And I don't think anybody's completely sold on Josh Allen, but they got to give him the props for what he's done this season. But then you look at Buffalo, right? 2 playoff games in Buffalo, and we're seeing that it doesn't change their game plan. They ran the ball 7 times with Devin Singletary, who a lot of people were comping to David Montgomery. What I'm getting at is it's so important to have the quarterback position figured out. And you look at where the Bears are. And that's the only thing I could think of the entire playoffs. Because the first few games were okay. It wasn't until we got to this Tampa Bay versus New Orleans game that we really got to enjoy a shootout or at least a competitive game. And all I can think about is, where are the Bears in this scale? And you sit there and you just see that they are so far behind, not just as a culture, not just as an organization, but as a mindset, as a people, as a collective. They are so far behind all these other teams, all these other players. And you hear the way they talk about them, talk about the way that they evaluate talent, how they talk to each other, how they collaborate with each other. This is a team that was satisfied with how they handled a 6-game losing streak, opposed to why did you have a 6-game losing streak to begin with? That is not how you get to the NFC or AFC championship. Tom Brady, as an individual quarterback, has more playoff wins than the Charter franchise does appearances. That's a joke. That is unforgivable. When you watch playoff games, when you watch good football, it's almost as if they're playing a different sport. The fact that they can finish these plays, that they can get a scheme out and it working. When you watch when New Orleans did with that play that Wims just drops right in his fingertips, changes the whole complex of the game, right? The complexion of what could have been. Not that I think it changes anything, but just for the sake of this narrative, right? You see New Orleans do it with no hesitation, no problem. Jameis Winston, of all people. Look, we could keep beating this dead horse And I get it, people get sick of talking about it. But this is the same organization that with this regime told you they were going to keep drafting quarterbacks every single year until they got it right. How many quarterbacks have they drafted since Mitchell Trubisky? I'm waiting because there hasn't been. And that's the point, is you haven't gotten the most important position right. And you haven't done anything to address it besides bringing subpar replacements. So when you're watching these games, and when you watch the NFC and AFC championship game, and if you're a Bears fan, or for that matter, any team in the NFL that doesn't at least have some form of hope in the quarterback position, that's the number one thing you got to look for. And I know it's easy, we always talk about it. But I truly, deep down, it doesn't matter how good your offensive line is, doesn't matter how great your running back is, doesn't matter how top tier your defense is. If you do not have a special quarterback, you're not winning a Super Bowl. If you don't have a good quarterback, you're not going to be competitive. And if you don't have a competent quarterback, then you're going to be exactly where the Chicago Bears are. And that's in limbo, NFL hell. But besides looking at what it meant for the Bears, what it means for the NFL, how close they are to ever getting to a Super Bowl, which just seems like a lifetime away from now, one thing we do get to see is these fun matchups. And on Friday on Sports from the Couch, we are going to be interviewing friend of the show, Christian Simpson. That interview will be posted on Saturday morning, all about the NFC and AFC championship game. Always have a wonderful time talking to my radio brother, so make sure you guys stick around for that. But I still want to hit a couple of things before we talk to Christian later on this week about our conference championship games. And, you know, Tampa Bay versus Green Bay, a fun matchup. Two offenses that can definitely go off. Two defenses that have kind of held their own, especially Tampa Bay's. But the fact that we get to see Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers go at it one last time for the first time in an NFC championship game. We never got to see them in a Super Bowl. We'll never get to see them against each other in a Super Bowl. But the fact that they're in a title game to get to the Super Bowl is it's cool. We never would have thought that 18 months ago. So the fact that we get that, and I think Tampa Bay has a really good chance. This is what I was talking about throughout my entire rant. It doesn't matter that Tom Brady played for Tampa Bay this year. That man has been in Foxborough. It could be negative 70 degrees. He's still going to find a way to be in that game. So the skill players, if somebody like Mike Evans or a Gronkowski or a Godwin, they go off, Tampa Bay can win this game. So that's going to be a fun matchup, a historic matchup, and it's a wonderful way to start. You know, the way to start Conference Championship Sunday is giving us those legends to start off, just like you finish off the divisional round with the legends. And then you start off Championship Sunday with the legends. I love it. Smart booking by the NFL. So that is your 2:05 game on Fox. And then your 5:40 game that is here in Chicago. You get yourself the Buffalo Bills, the Kansas City Chiefs. You get your youngsters, your established star, your future star. Two cohorts. Two guys who are really just going to be above and hopefully beyond this NFL. They're able to transcend, because to me, if Buffalo is good, that's good for the NFL. And Josh Allen has all the tools to be good. And then obviously we know Patrick Mahomes is the goods, beyond the goods. So to have these two fan bases also going at it, that'd be fun. So I think that's going to be an interesting matchup, because defensively we know Buffalo can make you pay for your mistakes. And we've seen that if it's not Patrick Mahomes, this Kansas City team is a little bit vulnerable. The problem is they still have a lot of good players like Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill. You know, I think people forget that as great as Patrick Mahomes is, what makes Patrick Mahomes as dangerous as he is not only is he so good, but then he has weapons that are so good. So it's like giving a nuclear bomb Godzilla's atomic breath. And that is why, even without him there, it's still going to be a competitive game. But look out for Buffalo. We'll talk about this more later on in the week, but I'm so excited for Championship Sunday. And I want to know what you guys think. How did you think the divisional round played off? I mean, I guess we've made it to the end of the show. The touchback rule, I mean, it's a heartbreaker. It sucks. They need to change it. They're never going to change it. Maybe this is the one. Unless it costs a team the Super Bowl, I don't think they're going to change it. But if there's one fluky scenario with one fluky team and one fluky season for it to happen, it's right now. For it to hurt the Cleveland Browns like it did. Because that cost them the game. We didn't know it at the time. I mean, we all kind of did. We knew this was going to come back and bite them. How couldn't it? Of course, you know, the turnaround of 7 points to not having the ball. You know, like, I get it. Like, we all knew it was going to be a turning point, but we didn't realize it, just how impactful it was. And then them losing Mahomes changed everything. So it's a heartbreaker that you have that happen. It's a heartbreaker that fan base loses that way. This is your opportunity to change it. And it'd be nice on MLK Day that for the first time the NFL actually just kind of does something proactively. I think that's, you know, when you watch some of these great football games, like how amazing this sport is. Just as a visual, just on its own athleticism, just the wonder of like these gigantic human beings doing what they do, the specialty that it is. Same thing with all sports, and from the WNBA to MLB and the NFL and every other sport that you love, to see them do such great things that we all wish we could do, and on some level, that they do what they promise and try to show some initiative. If you're not going to do it socially, at least make your game better for the players, make your game better for the fans. And it'd be nice if they changed a rule that is so stupid and ruins the game for no reason. And, you know, how about we change up some of these rules? Because I know this, you know, it's a deeper topic. We'll talk about it. But, you know, we've seen what happened with these coaching changes. And, like, there's 2 black coaches in the NFL, 2 Hispanic coaches in the NFL. Like, it's crazy. The NFL makes a lot of mistakes. And it's not just on the field, it's off the field. But at least we're going to have ourselves some fun matchups. Let's hope that the officiating and stupid NFL rules don't ruin Championship Sunday. But that'll do it for us, guys, on this edition of Sports from the Couch here on Mercado Airwaves. Thank you so much for making us a part of your day. Don't forget, you can follow us all over the universe. I'm on Twitter at Mike and Media. Instagram, Mike Mercado Media. And the show is on Twitter at Couch Sports Talk. Like, rate, review, and shares wherever you get your favorite podcast at Mercado Airwaves. Become a producer of the show at patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves. Get some swag at teespring.com/Mercado Airwaves. Like us on Facebook at Mercado Airwaves. Subscribe to us on YouTube, youtube.com/Mercado Airwaves Network. Come play video games with us on Twitch, twitch.tv/Mercado Airwaves Network. And keep up to date with everything we're doing on the network, from the true crime show, the pop culture news, the interviews, and everything in between on Twitter at Mercado Airwaves. Thank you so much. Please enjoy all the games. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other. We will see you next time here on Sports from the Couch on the Mercado Airwaves Network. I'm Mike Mercado.